You work hard, but your body keeps getting worse. In this video, you learn why your workouts are keeping you overweight, stuck, and frustrated, and what ambitious professional men like yourself should do instead so you can lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm making a new video about weight loss advice every week. I use these strategies to lose 60 pounds in 8 months and kept it off for 13 years, and I've helped dozens of men just like you lose up to 60 pounds and finally escape the yo-yo dieting cycle. And if you're tired of constantly losing and gaining the same weight, I want to help you get to your healthy self without giving other foods that you love. Make sure you watch the video to the end because there's an opportunity for you to understand how specific to work out with strength training, cardio, steps in order to lose the weight and keep it off for good. So in order for you professional men to get a lean to muscular body, you need to have the basics in order when it comes to weight training. And what you start out with is that you have, for example, the compound movement. Basically that is you targeting several muscle groups, and it's also the most intensive types of workouts. So in the beginning of the workouts, you have high energy levels. You want to utilize that energy because if you have high energy levels, you have a lot of energy because you want to build as much muscle mass. The more muscle mass you are building, the faster you lose weight, and you'll also break down the muscle tissues very fast with being able to, for example, you start out with, if you want to build up a big upper chest and also having big arms, you want to start out with compound movements like Smith machine, incline chest press, because for us men, we want to have like a wide V taper. There's like broad shoulders, big chest, small waist, big thighs. The best way to illustrate that is, for example, superhero movie characters. So you're targeting the upper part of the chest where you want to put it into a Smith machine, because Smith machine is helpful for you guys who are working out alone. I usually work out alone, so I want to emphasize as much weight without having someone to spot me. So if I am working out, I am just pulling the bar up and then I'm just pressing down. So before you're doing any exercise, you also want to have a mental note of how you're working out. So that's why you want to study the exercises, and by already knowing where you want to target the specific muscle groups, which is the upper part of the chest, you are having a mind-muscle connection where you have a mental picture of where you are targeting the muscle. And if you are doing that, it's easier for you to grow the muscle tissues. Because if you are just working out the upper part of the chest and you don't have arch in your back and you are working out the traps, you're just growing the traps, and that is not what you want. So in order to get this specific muscle group to grow, you just need to do the homework before you even enter in the gym. So you start out with, for example, having a notepad on your phone where you are typing in, for example, you take 10 kilos, maybe each side of the bar, and then you want to do 12 reps. You want to do 12 reps with, for example, you are taking a breath and then you are exhaling while you are moving up the bar, because you are wanting to use like 1 second, like you are taking a breath and then you are pushing out, because that is where you are breaking down the muscle tissues. But also when you are exhaling, like you're inhaling, like 2 seconds where you're lowering, that's the where you are creating the most traumatic experience for the muscle, because that's where the most muscle growth is happening, because you're breaking down the muscle tissues. So you're taking a breath like this, and then 2 seconds you're lowering the weight, and you do that 12 reps just to get some blood flow out to the muscle, because if you're doing that, you're going to build a lot more muscle. And then afterwards you have been doing that, you're just getting started. So you have 10 kilos already, then you want to ramp up with the first set. That is like, could be 2.5 kilos. You try that each side, and then you are resting 60 seconds, and then you are performing 10 to 12 reps again. You always want to be in a rep range where you are 1 to 2 reps before failure, because when you are working out hard enough, you're also having high intensity. The more intensity you have with your workouts, you're building a lot more muscle and you're losing fat faster. So you don't want to be one of these guys who are taking like 5 minutes between every set, because that's very low in intensity and you're not building as much muscle mass and losing as fat as much. So that's what you want to do. And then you want to always challenging yourself, because progressive overload is constantly just adding more weight to the bar while you're trying to exhaust yourself. So let's imagine that you can do 10 or 12 reps for the first set, then you rest 60 seconds again, and then you keep lowering more weight until like 2.5 kilos, 5 kilos, depending. You must do it with correct form. And after 3 sets, the warm-up set is not like a set, it's just a warm-up set. And then for 3 sets, you've been doing the same rep ranges, and then you just done. That's the first compound movement, where you're already targeting the upper part of your chest and then also the triceps, because you're just using your arms to pull the weight. And then after, you want to go over to incline dumbbell press, where you are targeting the upper part of the chest again, but it's just with a different variation, because you want to exhaust the muscles from different kinds of angles and also exercises. So you're just doing the same rep ranges as well, and also writing down in your notepad how it's going for you, because sometimes in the beginning you are not able to understand how much weight you can push. So by doing that, you're going to get a lot of muscle mass, because it's just how I would start out with when I'm trying to lose weight. And then you are 2 compound movements already. Then you want to go over to something that's called isolation movement, where you are using flies. The reason for that is you already exhausted your muscle with compound movements, so you want to go over to isolation movements, where you are targeting the muscle fibers from different angles, because in order for you to get a full grown muscle like the chest, you want to target the fibers that's like straight, and then you want to target the muscle fibers that is from the other side of the muscle from the chest. So using like 2 hands, where you are just using cable flies to target the muscles, so you get this round muscle on the chest. And after you're doing that, you go over to tricep, where you are, for example, targeting the tricep push downs. That could, for example, be tricep push down, where you're utilizing like a handle and you're doing the same rep ranges, 10 to 12 reps for that is like a first warm-up set, and then you do 3 sets. And you always want to have a good mind-muscle connection, understanding where you are targeting the muscle. And then you go over to tricep row push downs, and then triceps, for example, bench press, because you want to target the triceps from all angles. There's like triceps just Latin word for 3 heads, so you want to target all 3 heads. You can Google where you are targeting the specific triceps, because that's just easier for you. I just want to clarify that you need to targeting all the muscle groups in order to have this fully grown muscle on the arm, because the arm is like a very big muscle. So you want to target all the muscle groups. So that's just the first day when you are targeting the chest. I would love to know what is your biggest takeaway so far. Just comment below and let me know. Then you want to start out with the back workout. For example, in order for you to target this wide back, you have for example, the upper. If you look from the side and also from the back, we have for example, the upper back, and then we also have the lateral here, and then we also have the lower back. So you're starting out with compound movements where you have more energy. That could be barbell rows, where you're targeting the upper part of the area of this, for example, the back, and then you also have the lower area of the back. And because you want to target it with having more thickness on your back, so you look like a ninja turtle from the side and also from the front, so you have this beautiful V taper. And then afterwards, you are utilizing like 12 reps, where you are getting some blood flow out to the muscle, finding some weights, and then you're trying to increase it afterwards with weights. Like you start out with maybe 10 kilos on each side, and then you have 12 reps getting the blood flow out, and then you warm up again. And then you're increasing the weight with like 2.5 kilos, for example, and then you perform that with 3 sets. And after this, you're doing seated barbell rows or cable rows, where you are just targeting for example, the upper part of the area of the back again. And then you go over to dumbbell rows, where you're also getting more thickness on your back. That could be like the upper part of the back. And then you want to go over to, there's something that's called close grip pull downs, where you're getting like a bar, and then you're just using this handle and then getting a bit more width. So that's just targeting for example, the lats. And then you want to have like a very beautiful back It takes some time before you get this V taper, but as long as you're building muscle on the right frame of your body and also have a lower body fat percentage, but that is something that's coming with time. And then you also want to targeting the rear delt. So the shoulder is like 3 heads. So the front part of the shoulder, that's coming like the front delts. That is something that's being getting a lot of volume when you are using like chest exercises or dumbbell exercises. Then there's also the wide here, like the side of the delts. That's also with utilizing side dumbbell. And also sometimes you are targeting the back of the muscle of the shoulders, but not as directly as if you're using, for example, rear delt flies. And you can use a machine for that. So these are some of the tricks that you want to use. For example, these are 2 of the days of my workout program that I'm giving to my clients in order for you to lose weight and build more muscle. And then you also want to start out with, for example, 6,000 steps using for example, a step app where you are tracking the steps. Because if you're in a calorie deficit, let's say that you have a maintenance calories of 2,000, 3,000 calories as a 30-year-old man, because you figured out that through a macro calculator, then you subtract like 300 calories to be in a calorie deficit, and then just following that, you'll lose weight all around your body. And then the whole 45% of your daily calories come from protein, because higher protein diets helps you lose weight faster and build more muscle. And then you have 40% of your daily calories coming from carbs, because that helps you recover faster and also reducing the cravings, because ambitious professional men who like yourself are going on, for example, a healthy diet, and you're just binge eating, craving a lot, and that makes it difficult to stick to your diet. So having these things in order is helpful. And then you are just losing weight because you are eating in a calorie deficit, and like throughout the week, 300, 500 calorie deficit, you are losing like a pound. And then in order for you to lose a pound more, so 2 pounds in total, you have to expend even more calories by walking even further. So you're doing 6,000 steps, and you're just following this plan for the first 2 weeks. You're not doing any cardio, because cardio is just a supplementary tool for you to lose weight even faster. So when you are in a plateau where you're not losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, you want to introduce cardio. And the best way to use cardio is you are using on a, for example, machine like cross trainer, stationary bike, where you are able to have some resistance because you're burning more calories. I don't always recommend that you are using a treadmill, because treadmill is just you walking. There's not some resistance, so you're not burning as much calories. Because if you're someone that your heaviest weight as you've been for many years, and you're just stuck on going on a gym, you are going on a treadmill, and then you're just walking, you're not burning as much calories because you're just walking, and maybe you're just going at a slow pace. You maybe have enough breath to talk with your friend. I don't recommend that you're doing that, because it's just a waste of time. If you're someone who on a treadmill talking with a friend, there's not enough resistance. When you are on a stationary bike, you want to do that with a heart rate of 120 or 150, because if you're doing it that way, you are actually going to burn a lot more calories. And let's imagine that 10 is like your hardest way of working out, and then you are doing like a 6 or a 7 where you are able to, like, you're breathing heavily, but you're still able to do it. So these are the ways for you to lose weight, because these are also the same things I've been teaching my clients to lose weight and keep it off, and eventually you just lose all the weight. When you're hitting these plateaus, these are also where you have to talk with your coach in regards to how to break through them. But what I usually do is that if you are not losing 1 to 2 pounds, it can vary if you are someone who is maybe building a lot of muscle. So on the scale, it shows that you've been losing 1 pound or maybe 700 grams of every single week. That's good. But if you only lost like 500 grams, and you lost like 300 grams, and then you build like 300 grams of muscle. So it's difficult to understand. You need to hop on a scale every Monday morning without any clothes. You need to take a shit, and also not having anything in your system, because if you're doing that way, you're actually having a more accurate way of losing weight, and also having the right scale you can track. You also have, like, for example, measurement tape of your body from the whole area of your body, and then pictures before, after, like from the front, side, and the back, where you have a friend taking pictures of you in the same light, because that's the more authentic way for you to have an idea of how your body looks. And after every 4th week, you're taking the same measurements and body pictures. So these small changes can help you lose the weight, like in a more significant way. You are seeing that your body's changing, you build more muscle mass, and you're also losing more fat. So if you're someone who wants to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest and confident version of yourself, being someone who is going at work and talking confident with your clients, you are feeling very confident, getting more opportunities at work because you are most confident, and just being able to wear all the suits that you want, because that's just how you see yourself as a confident and healthy person. If you want to lose the weight for good, there's, just like you saw with the transformation picture of me and my clients at the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can apply for coaching with me, and we'll just see if we are fit to work together, and I'll help you build a game plan together. Bye.